GPU prices are finally coming down. Let's do this. I wish these files would transfer faster. Come on! Whoa, is that the FireCuda 510 NVMe drive with its blistering fast speeds of 3450 megabytes a second read, 3200 megabytes a second write, and capacities of up to 2 terabyte? I can have these files transferred in no time. And if I'm looking for the ultimate performance, I could even get the 4th generation FireCuda 520. I better check the link in the description to find out more details. So normally when I make a video like this, I script it out. We, write up everything and we sort of go through everything analytically and, quite concisely. I want to do this one a little bit different. And I have made videos like this before where I've sort of said it's me, laid bare, raw, and all that kind of stuff. And I kind of feel like I need to do that because it's just me talking to you guys as if you were in the room. And I want to talk about obviously what's going on with GPUs, where it's been, where it's heading and stuff like that. And I have actually made videos like this in the past and they've been pretty well received because it kind of gives you guys a little bit of information about how things are from an industry insider. Obviously, we hear so many different things from manufacturers, from distributors, from even shipping companies and things like that, retailers, and obviously what we see ourselves as well, which might be more than what the average consumer sees. Now, we all know GPUs have just been absolutely astronomical in terms of, firstly, getting hold of them, secondly, what price you can actually get hold of them for. But there has been a little bit of a saving grace just in sort of the last week, and it's probably even been longer than that, but because it's a kind of slow and steady process, you may not have noticed kind of what's been going on. Now, there's still many, many different factors going on in the world in terms of GPU pricing, and I have actually got some notes here to sort of, give me, I guess, a little bit of ammunition and a little bit of facts and figures that I can really relay to you guys. Now, when it comes to GPUs, no matter whether you've got an AMD graphics card or whether you've got an NVIDIA graphics card, whether it's a 3060, whether it's a 3070, 3070 Ti, 3080 Ti, whether it's a 3090, there has been problems. Now, some cards have obviously been hit worse than others. Predominantly, you could argue AMD have maybe had it a little bit easier than NVIDIA have. I know a lot of people who were able to get AMD graphics cards, not so many who were able to get NVIDIA. But you could argue that that's an artificially inflated number, purely because people want more NVIDIA graphics cards than they do AMD. That's just the simple, cold, hard facts of it, because NVIDIA do have more market share. Now, that's just kind of one element of it. And you've probably seen that RTX 3090s have been, well, pretty easy to get, albeit they are inflated prices and there are reasons behind that, and I will talk through all of that. But it's been easier to get a 3090 compared to, say, a 3060. And the reasons behind that is not many people need a 3090. Who needs 24 gig of VRAM? The 3080 Ti pretty much performs the same as the 3090, but for a lot less money, if we're talking MSRPs. So there's obviously a lot going on in terms of that and the stack and where people, basically what card people are buying. And for the most part, you could argue it's everything from, say, 3060 all the way up to 3080 Ti. 3070 and 3080 were always, kind of the predominant ones, and now the inclusions of the Ti cards. So things have got a little bit different there. Now, some retailers have actually tried to soften the blow a little bit. And like I say, I've got some figures here. So Scan have been selling for £789.98p an RTX 3060 gaming OC with a WD Black SN8 52 terabyte. So we drilled down the maths of, how much is an SN8 52 terabyte even worth? And it comes out before kind of, rebates and things like that, and the price Scanner actually selling for as a sale price, it was about 380, but they're actually now selling it on its own for £350. So that means the card is 440. Now, bearing in mind, an RTX 3060, when it launched, should have launched with an MSRP price of £299. Being a gaming OC card, you could argue it should be a little bit more expensive, maybe closer to 350. So it's still 90 quid above that if you're in the UK. I'm sure there's very similar things going on in the US when you look at Newegg, Best Buy and Micro Center and places like that. But this is kind of the situation that I've seen in the UK. So it's still not as it should be, but it's definitely a lot better. I mean, £90 as an inflated price, that's pretty damn good. And I've got to hand it to Scan. Throughout this whole thing, they seem to be one of the good guys. They haven't done what overclockers have done. They haven't done what CCL have done, which I'm still a very, very big advocate of. Do not shop at CCL. they do not deserve to have you guys as a customer because of what they were doing, especially when the 3070 Ti launched. I think it was like £3,000 they were selling the cards for. It was just astronomical. So vote with your feet. Don't go there, and they won't be able to get away with it for much longer. Now, they have actually been bundling at Scan their cards with many, many different things. So, as I mentioned, this is all kind of to soften the blow a little bit. You know, I mean, if you're in the market for a graphics card and that comes along with it, hopefully you're in the market for that as well, like an SSD. If you're not, yeah, it makes things a little bit trickier. Now, they have done things like RTX 3090s along with chairs, so we have seen that sort of in the past. They've done, and as they are doing at the moment, a 3090 with a 5800X. That seems like a more logical one to me than an SN850 Gen 4 SSD. People are more likely to want a CPU to go with their GPU, not a Gen 4 2TB SSD. So with that, they've been selling it at £2,249.99. Again, looking at the 5800X, and that being £388.99, means that the 3090 is still £1,861. That is, it's not a founder's edition, it's not a reference card, it is, you know, a slightly kind of extravagant one, something like this, but it's still inflated above kind of where it needs to be. But it's a lot better than where it used to be at around £2,200 to £2,400. Looking at other retailers, we've seen Novatech. They've got 3070 Ti Gaming X Trios for £950. That's not too bad compared to what it has been. It's still bad, don't get me wrong, there's no bones about it, but it's still a lot better than where it used to be. The Supreme X 3070 Ti is £1,000. I mean, that's kind of what a 3080 Supreme X should be, but it's a lot better than where it used to be. So there's a lot going on there. 3080 Ti is £1,700. Now, looking at 3080 Ti's, I had a little look around on eBay and auction sites and things like that. Now, that card actually launched at £1,049 MSRP. Scan, we saw on launch date, was selling it for that price. Some of the other retailers were selling it, you know, £1,350 and so forth. But I've actually seen a 3080 Ti Founders Edition sell on eBay for £1,310, brand new and sealed. So you can only assume that someone scalped it and they're trying to make a little bit of money. They're making, I mean, after fees, maybe £200. It's still, you know, an easy way to make money, definitely. Don't get me wrong with that. You know, if you've been able to profiteer on it, fair play to you, I guess. You're still the scum of the earth and everything, but yeah, you can't really argue that, you know, you've made a quick buck. But that card, 1310, I remember just a month ago, a couple of weeks ago, that would have been well over £1,500. That would have been close to sort of £1,700, £1,800 for exactly the same card. So while it's not exactly where maybe you want it to be right now, it's definitely heading in the right direction. So there is that. It is closer to MSRP, and this is something that I actually said off camera. The weird thing is, when you look at the price of the 3080s and what they're selling for and the price of the 3080 Ti's and what they're selling for, there's still quite a big disparity with 3080s and what their MSRP price is and what they're actually selling for, compared to the 3080 Ti MSRP price and what they're selling for. So with the 3080, there's about £500 to £600-ish on average between the brand new MSRP price and what they're selling for on eBay. With a 3080 Ti, that disparity is only about sort of £200 to £300. And I think there's a very good reason behind that. With the 3080, there's two different markets you can basically sell them to. There is the mining community and there is the gaming community. The 3080 Ti, there's only one market you can really sell that to that makes profitable sense, and that is the gaming market if you're a scalper. Because miners don't want it because it has been restricted in terms of LHR. And obviously that's all going to change as new cards get produced and, you know, kind of adopt the same, I guess, the same technology, should we say. Obviously, so much of it is card-based, driver-based, BIOS-based, all as a collaborative effort. But the older cards that are already out in the sort of, you know, in the wild, when it comes to 3080s, still have that high kind of, you know, mining rate. So you're still appealing to the miners. So there is that. Now, it's not just the UK this is happening in. So if you are watching this from another country, there is, you know, hope for you as well. Germany, for instance, we've seen very, very similar things. So the prices of GPUs in Germany are now around 150% of MSRP. So basically, if it's £1,000 graphics card, or we're talking Germany, €1,000 graphics card, it's going to be closer to €1,500. Whereas before, and we're going back to just May, so not even that long ago, they were about 304%. So that €1,000 graphics card was closer to kind of 3,100, 3,200 euros. It's quite a dramatic difference when you sort of look at it. So while it's not the final solution, it's definitely heading in the right direction. So there is that. And this is both the same on AMD and NVIDIA. Like I say, AMD probably had it a lot easier than what NVIDIA did, purely because the supply was, you know, the same kind of level, should we say, in terms of percentages, but the demand was just nowhere near the same on AMD compared to Nvidia. So when you're looking at an Nvidia card, of course it's going to be harder to get. And, we're not just talking about Nvidia reference cards. We're talking about the Inno3D X3 OC. We're talking about the Palette cards as well, like the GameRock OC and things like that. So MSI, Supreme X, Asus Strix, there's all of the different AIB cards. And when you think most AIBs have 2 to 3 models per range, so we're talking 2 to 3 of like a 3070 Ti, 2 to 3 of a 3080. As you go higher up the stack, sometimes they even have more than that. So there was, I guess, and still is, a lot of cards to choose from. But yeah, AMD have certainly had it a lot easier. There has been reports as well in Russia of exactly the same thing happening, with used prices coming down, even new prices, but on auction sites, coming down closer to MSRP. So why is this happening? Now, I did a live stream last week and I did mention that in China, the whole cryptocurrency kind of mining operations, at least on a big scale, have been shut down. It's basically 2 ways of looking at it. There's the ASICs miners, which doesn't really affect things too much. And then there's the GPU-centric miners who are taking the GPUs and basically, building up these massive mining farms of 10, 15, 20, 50 graphics cards all together. Now, what's actually happened is electricity in China is very, very cheap in the grand scheme of things, but you still need to get some kind of a permit from your local government to say, this is what we're doing. We've got this full-scale mining operation going on. This is how it's happening. A lot of people obviously didn't want to do that because that cost money, and instead they wanted to reap the benefits of cheap energy, cheap electricity, which obviously gives them more profit, without going through all the rigmarole of making it technically legal. So the Chinese government have clamped down and they've basically said, well, you either shut things down or, you're getting fined, you're going to prison, or both. So what's basically happened is people have had to dismantle their whole mining operations, but then they're sitting there with all these graphics cards going, what do I now do with all these GPUs? So with all the GPUs, I can't just leave them sat around because, if the government come and, I don't know, have a little look in your factory or your house or wherever you were running the mining operation from before, even if the actual operation has been shut down, if they suddenly see an influx of graphics cards and you've got no way of proving that they are for, let's say, legit reasons, you're going to get fined or you're going to go to prison or you're going to get both. So they've had to basically try and get rid of the evidence as quickly as possible, selling them on the used market. So now there's a sudden influx of GPUs on the used market in China. So what about all the new GPUs? Well, they don't need to go to China anymore because they're already now oversaturated with used stock. So now they can come to other markets like the UK, like the US, like any other country that is struggling with the supply and demand issue. So what's happening in these other countries is actually directly benefiting, the countries we're in, the ones where we're sitting there going, all I want to do is buy a GPU. And I've said this time and time again, I do feel sorry for you guys. I really, really do. So that is happening. But I guess the main question we need to ask is, why has this all happened? Why has it kind of got to this point, and when is it going to get better? And obviously we are in the process of it getting better, and it is a kind of a little bit of a snowball effect, but there is more to play. Everyone's going, but it's all about the crypto miners. And I've said this time and time again, that is one part of the puzzle. Crypto miners are one thing. The other thing is raw materials. So we're talking metal, we're talking plastic, we're talking cardboard. The card that is literally on these graphics cards that are, the printed sleeves, the cardboard inside. There are shortages on that. I know people who run small businesses and they put their products in nice little black cardboard boxes. They now have to put them in coloured cardboard boxes because they can't physically get hold of the black ones because there is a shortage. So there's probably companies in China, in Hong Kong, in Taiwan, who do have GPUs manufactured. But if they don't have boxes to put them in, they can't sell them because it's not then a retail product. It doesn't have a barcode on it. It doesn't have everything they want to give you to have that kind of, extreme retail experience as a consumer. So that is going on. The other thing is shipping containers. I've said this time and time again. And I guess as consumers, you guys don't get to see this as often as what I would like you to see it. But shipping containers are expensive. They used to be pretty good. I mean, when I got things like the eTechnics merch, which is available on store.etechnics.com, but when I got all this, it was all made in China. I had a contact down in China who basically went to the factories, looked at the quality of the items, gave me his honest opinion, and told me whether I should put an order in or not. And then I had to pay the factory directly, and there's different ways of doing it. You can do it FOB, which is basically you pay for everything up until it gets onto the ship. After that, it is fully your responsibility. They don't care. The factories don't care anymore. And sometimes if you're a distie, you are buying a 40-foot high cube container of graphics cards, of cases, of any commodity item that is in the tech industry, even outside of the tech industry, any item. Other times it is routed to a hub, for instance. So I was speaking to a case manufacturer the other day who have a hub in Europe. They get their container shipped to there, then it's their responsibility after that. That's fine. That works a slightly different way. But when it's coming directly from China into a disty, it's generally FOB, and then you have to pay extra costs above and beyond that. Shipping container costs, and I've said this before in previous videos and previous live streams, they used to be, this time last year, maybe a little bit before the pandemic hit, they were around $1,200 to $1,500 for a 40-foot high cube. That was kind of a reasonable price. As we saw sort of last year and then coming into this year, these prices rose to about $12,000. I was told the other day by a case manufacturer that these prices now, you're looking at around £17,000. That's $23,500. If you can fit 1,000 cases into a container, into a 40-foot high cube, you're talking an extra on 17 grand, £17 per product. Who's going to swallow that? It's not going to be the disty, it's not going to be the retailer, it's not going to be the brand. Collectively, they might be able to swallow a little bit of it, but as a whole, it's not going to happen. When you think about GPUs, which are a lot smaller item, maybe that hit doesn't, have as much of an impact, but it still does make a difference. And we've got it with brands as well, where I know a brand who's coming out with a couple of cases soon, and they literally said to me the other day, this case is either coming out in July or it's coming out in September. There is no in between. I said, why? And they said, it depends if it gets on the boat today. If it doesn't get on the boat today, it's not going to be launching until September, because that's how bad things are. Even if you've bought this 40-foot high cube and you spent $23,500 on it to put all your products in, like GPUs or cases or whatever, doesn't mean you have space on the ship. So what I'm trying to say is that is still going on, and that is still I guess one of the worst things that's happening at the moment, because that is directly inflating the price. And it's no one's fault. It is just everyone playing catch up in Asia and places like that. So there is that. So where do we go from here? Things are getting better. We can see that. On auction sites, they're getting better. At retailers, getting better. I've just had a look, and there are retailers, including ones that I wouldn't advise you going to buy from, and they have stock. They're not at the prices that you should be paying, but they have stock. That's better than where things were 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago, they didn't have stock and you were paying stupid prices. Now they have stock and you're paying still stupid prices, but not as stupid. So it's definitely heading in the right direction. And the weird thing is, I remember recording a video very similar to this at the beginning of the year. I think it was like February, March. And I said, things will start to get better in July. It got to June and I was literally sitting there going, I think I was wrong. But now looking at it, I think I was bang on with it. And that was literally just a shot in the dark of me guessing, this is when I think things are going to get better. And it is starting to get better, and it is going to get better. And I honestly think with the weather getting better and things like that, everything is going to have an impact. So if you are looking for a GPU, you can buy them. They are still inflated, nowhere near what they used to be, but they are inflated. But in my honest opinion, if you are looking for a GPU and you want close to MSRP, just wait it out. That's the best advice I can give you. Give it a month, give it 6 weeks, maybe even 2 months. Things are getting better. They are heading in the right direction. It's just now a matter of time. So yeah, let me know in the comments section below. Have you guys actually managed to get a GPU, and what did you pay over MSRP? Or were you one of the lucky ones who managed to actually get a card from a retailer at the right time and all was well? I don't know, I'm kind of interested. We can read reports and see things all the time of what's happening in Germany and what's happening here and what's happening there. But the best sort of way of us analysing the market is hearing it directly from you guys. So there you have it. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. I know it's a little bit of a long one and whatnot, but let me know if you do like these types of videos where it's just kind of unscripted, me to you, talking as if you're in the room and just giving you that little bit of industry insider facts, I guess. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one, guys. See you later. Bye-bye.